she started describing the qualities of Radharani, Krishna entered the Mahābhāv Samadhi. So he froze. His eyes became big. He became stambhit and he was just sitting like this. When Shree Krishna was in Dvārakā, the queens of Dvārakā, they saw that whenever Shree Krishna would remember the gopis, he would faint unconscious. So they said, what was the specialty of these illiterate village women? They had no knowledge of AI. They were not computer literate. And we are queens. We were trained by our parents. We did variety of things. We graduated in the Arangetram and other things. And whenever our soul beloved remembers the gopis, he forgets all of us. What were the Līlās that Shree Krishna did with the gopis? We need to know. Whom can we hear about these Līlās from? They decided that Mother Rohini was also there in Braj. So Rohini was one of the wives of Vasudeva, but she used to live in Braj. And that is why she was aware of Krishna's Braj Līlās. So they went to Mother Rohini and said, can you please share with us that Braj Ras Katha? Rohini said, I do know, but they are the intimate pastimes of my child Krishna. So I am hesitant in speaking them. The queens insisted, no, you just have to tell us. So Rohini said, when Krishna and Balarām go from the palace to their court during the daytime, because Krishna was now doing the Līlā of being a king, you all gather here. And that's what they did. And at that time, all the queens gathered. And Rohini said to Subhadrā, the sister of Krishna, that you sit outside and ensure that nobody should disturb. She started narrating the pastimes. The queens were listening enraptured. Their heart was playing various chords of devotion. They were transported to a different realm, listening to those sweet Braj Līlās of their soul beloved Krishna. But Krishna and Balarām are antaryami. They came to know what's going on. And they said, to relish that ras as antaryami, she is saying it, I am knowing it, is not that sweet. We want to go and relish it in person. Like people say, we have listened to you online, but still we want to be in person as well. So Krishna Balarām said, this ras has to be experienced in person. The Zoom platform will not do. And finally, when they grew really restless, they closed the darbar that day and they went to the palace. But Subhadrā was alert and insistent. And she said, my dear brothers, you may be elder to me. However, I am fulfilling the instruction of your mother Rohini. You are not permitted. So Krishna sat on one side and Balarām sat on the other and Subhadrā was in the center. And Rohini was speaking in a loud voice. In those days, there was no audio amplification. And the sound was permeating beyond the door. So Krishna and Balarām were able to hear it. And Rohini was going on. When Yashoda used to put Krishna to sleep and she would go to rest with Nand Baba, Krishna would wait until he was confident that Yashoda was asleep and then he would get up. And he would go out and he would enter the forest. And from there the gopis would also come and Radha would also come. And then they would go into this forest and do this one Līlā, into that forest and do this one Līlā. And then they would jump into the Yamuna and this, it's all that. And when she started describing the qualities of Radharani, now Krishna went into Mahābhāv Samadhi. In Bhakti, there is one Mahābhāv. And Mahābhāv, the ocean of love, becomes so turbulent because Bhakti is like an ocean in the heart of the devotee. And when its waves increase, they become uncontrollable. So the devotee goes into Samadhi. Now their power to control is also incomprehensible. And yet, from time to time, they go into Samadhi. So one of those Samadhis is Mahābhāv. And Krishna entered the Mahābhāv Samadhi. So he froze. His arms became jammed. His eyes became big. He became stambhit and he was just sitting like this. The positive stimuli, they make your love also grow. So seeing his brother's love swell, Balarām also entered into Samadhi. And he also froze and his eyes became big. And seeing both her brothers in Samadhi, Subhadrā also easily glided into Mahābhāv. But her hands were behind and her eyes became big. God's disc Sudarshan came and saw that my masters are in this situation. Sudarshan entered Mahābhāv. The disc flattened out and it was lying there. And Narad came to know by the celestial internet that this is a higher, subtler level. So he came over and he saw Krishna, Balarām and Subhadrā and Sudarshan in that form. He offered his pranams and was astonished at what was going on. So in the meantime, the episode of the narration changed and Krishna's bhav subsided, and so did that of the others. Narad then asked Shree Krishna, Maharaj, what was this situation of yours that I witnessed today? And Shree Krishna said, Narad, I was listening to the Braj Līlās with the gopis, and that sent me into Mahābhāv. Narad said, Maharaj, my good fortune, I had darshan of your Mahābhāv Swarup. My prayer is, may other humans on the planet also have the benediction of seeing this Swarup of yours. Shree Krishna said, Narad, I will gladly bestow this boon and combine it with two other boons that I have given, that I need to fulfill. First is, I have promised to Bimala Devi, the Divine Mother, that in Kali Yuga I will profusely bestow Mahaprasad. That is the speciality of the Jagannath Mandir. And for the sake of Raja Indradyumna, I will have to come as Daru Brahma, God in a wooden body. So, to fulfill all the three boons, Bhagavan manifested in the form of Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadrā. Shri Jagannāth Swami Ki. So Shankaracharya says, Jagannāth Swami Nayana Pathagami Bhavatu Me. That Jagannath Ji is the blazing testimony to the beauty of the love of the gopis. Universally, the Acharyas of Bhakti have held Gopī-prema in the highest esteem.